He's going to be reading here on Saturday night for 100,000 Poets for Change, as well as some of the other people reading here tonight. So I hope you can come Saturday. And so Joe's going to read a poem, and then we're going to introduce David. Let's have a nice warm welcome for Mr. Joe Richey.
I might need a glass of water.
Okay. Hey, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here and to follow all my friends and colleagues. My friend from Russia with Pussy Riot, who read earlier, Marcus. And I'm going to read one poem and then get David on here as soon as possible. It's after his bedtime. Hey, by the way, first, before I read, the election voting lady is still here. Anne is still here if anyone is not registered to vote. A couple years ago, I found a gambling website where you could actually gamble like a horse race on elections in the United States. That was based in Dublin, Ireland. So I kind of saved the racing form and wrote this: a day at the races. Good afternoon, racing fans. On this brilliant November American afternoon, 9 races. The future of financial, physical, and psychological health in all its unthought out glory. Elections to determine the state of our land, our air, our water, our weather, the state of our state, our planet, your wallet, your personal and collective security, and mine for the next century, maybe, or more. Welcome to the race of the century. It ain't just betting red, white, and yellow and brown till you're black and blue in purple states like Colorado anymore. Democracy is the name of the game. The field on this brilliant November American afternoon, 12 races featured, just the nip and tuck toss-ups where stakes are especially high. In the post position, personal responsibility. Personal responsibility won 2 of its last 3 races, just showing up on time. Running in a field of mudders on a fast track, ridden by Omar Lara out of Can Do Stables, owned by Stu Wright, 65 pounds, pesky, 5-1. Number 2 filly, Private Gain. Remember the breed Private Gain is bearing. Career ambition and meritocracy, winners of 3 separate crowns, owned by Buck Williams, 180 pounds, beneath Cesar Day, 2-1 favorite. I should take bets. If people have a horse they really want to lay money on tonight, we could talk. Enlightened self-interest fills the 3 spot. This horse never stops chugging, crisscrossing the country by land, air, and sea, always sets a fast pace, doesn't give an inch on the rail, 3-1. The Invisible Hand in the 4-post at 6-1, Alejandro Vera on top. Number 5, Tax Cut at 7-2, Grover Norquist, the rider. War Emblem, nearly a Triple Crown winner in 2002. This war horse runs that 3-1 like nobody's business. Free Trade, 10-1, Vicente Fox Jr. in the saddle. Political Animal, 8-1, known to rally hard, taking the whip today from Little Amy Goodman. Quagmire, 9-1. 10B, Mixed Messages, 10A, The Philosopher's Bone, really tossed onto the field for all its hard work on the fast tracks of Mexico. And finally, in the 11th slot, Infrastructure. Vic Diaz on top, 5-1. They're at the gate. They're off. No throwing riders. Tax Cut out front. War Blemblem tailing. Enlightened Self-Interest breaks from the field. Private Gain angling on War Emblem and the Philosopher's Bone, followed by Quagmire, Free Trade, Personal Responsibility, Political Animal, The Invisible Hand, Mixed Messages, and Infrastructure, bringing up the rear. Tax Cut in the lead, approaching the first turn. Self-interest and War Emblem battling. Private Gain fading. Personal Responsibility noses forward. Philosopher's Bone drifting. And Free Trade, Quagmire, The Invisible Hand, infrastructure, and mixed messages. On the backstretch, political animal takes to the whip on the far outside. Tax cut, self-interest, and personal responsibility, 1, 2, 3 on the rail, with war emblem, private gain, quagmire closing. The invisible hand, free trade, neck and neck in the middle of the pack, with infrastructure, the philosopher's bone, and mixed messages. Tax cut, given way inside. A latent self-interest keeps up a fast pace, edging. Personal responsibility chases. Quagmire bumps war emblem to the outside, with political animal, private gain, infrastructure, and free trade steady, holding. Philosopher bone and mixed messages dawdling. Enlightened self-interest hugs the rail on the far turn, with tax cut, personal responsibility, and quagmire holding third. War emblem and political animal taking it wide. Political animal takes war emblem on the far outside, approaching the stretch. Self-interest strides the rail. Tax cut falls behind as quagmire advances up the center of the track. Political animal gains on self-interest. Quagmire, quagmire, self-interest, political animal, personal responsibility, crowding. Infrastructure out of nowhere overtakes war emblem. Infrastructure follows personal responsibility and self-interest by a length and a half. Political animal, quagmire chasing, infrastructure on the outside, infrastructure gaining, self-interest gives out to personal responsibility. Political animal, quagmire, and infrastructure join. Political responsibility, dueling, infrastructure, quagmire, infrastructure. It's infrastructure, followed by quagmire, personal responsibility, political animal in the fourth position. Enlightened self-interest, fifth, war emblem, sixth, followed by the invisible hand, free trade, philosopher's bone, mixed messages, and private gain barely finishing.
Yeah. Joe Richey. In a tribute to Ed Dorn. Cheer it for Joe Richey. The last few years when David read here in September, this guy, Chris, that used to work here, asked if he could introduce him instead of me, and I was like, well, what will I do? That's the only thing I got to do is introduce people. And it turns out I'm not qualified to introduce David Barsamian, so we're going to have his former associate from Alternative Radio, Joe Richey, introduce David Barsamian. Let's hear it for Joe Richey introducing David Barsamian. Come on, everyone. Everyone move up and fill up these chairs. Let's hear it for Joe Richey, David Barsamian. Let's get some of these chairs filled up here in front.
Right here, right here.
Joe Richey in the lead.
Thanks, Tom. David Barsamian was born in No, I better not. I'll just say, David, for the last year or more, has been tracking the Occupy movement, visiting encampments, inspiring people to do, what I'm calling now the Octopi movement. It's this 8-armed thing that has to go for the media, has to go for political ideology, has to go for legislation, has to do a lot of change for the whole ship to turn around. And he's closely affiliated with Noam Chomsky, of course, and Greg Ruggiero. There's an Occupy, I don't know, a brand, I guess we could say. And David has been on tour speaking about the book with Richard Wolff, Occupy the Economy, Challenging Capitalism. And from working with David, I know over the past year, the economy is one of the biggest issues. He's interviewed one of the most cogent and coherent Marxist economists in the US on this topic, Richard Wolff. And he's also the director of Alternative Radio, a nationally syndicated hour-long public affairs program that's broadcast in, on over 300 radio stations, safe to say. And it's incredible accomplishment. He's talked about as the Studs Terkel of broadcast journalism today. And it's my pleasure to get David Barsamian to speak to the local crowd. It hasn't been here speaking for a year, but you could probably see him any day of the week over there at that table number 4. David Barsamian.
Give me a hand with this.
Oh yeah, I got to give him this too.
Underneath there for me.
this in your pocket.